Culture Uncut. This is Culture Uncut. This is Culture Uncut. I am your host, Jason Spears, and Colt fans, we've got a lot to talk about.
This is Culture Uncut. I'm your host, Jason Spears, coming at you after a Colts 38-30 win over the Tennessee Titans in a game that should have never been as close as the final score indicates. The Colts jumped out to a 38-7 lead and had to hold on to win this game 38-30. Lots of positives in this game, but some real negatives as well. Colts go to 7-8 and keep their slim playoff hopes alive. The Titans fall to 3-12. The Colts sweep the season series from the Tennessee Titans and move to 2-3 in the division, with one game remaining in the final week of the season, with Jacksonville coming to Indianapolis to wrap up the 2024 season. So let's jump into this game. It did not start well. AR throws a pick. He was late on the read. He did not throw it hard enough. He did not throw it fast enough as far as progression, and it got intercepted, and the Titans jumped out to a 7-0 lead. Now, to his credit and to the offense's credit, they then went on a 38-0 run, and basically with about 3 minutes to go in the third quarter, it was, I think, 38-7, and, everything was going well, and the game was in hand, and for some reason the Colts just decided to stop playing. But before we get into all that, which I will get into, let me go over what my keys to this game were, which I tweeted out before the game. My three keys were run the ball with 5-28 and play action pass off of it. So, let me give you the stats on that. AR, 9 carries, 70 yards, 1 touchdown. Jonathan Taylor, 29 carries, 218 yards, 3 touchdowns. So, between them, 38 carries, 288 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So, what I've been saying all year is this team needs to be built around running the ball and doing it patiently for 60 minutes and throwing off of that. So how did AR do throwing the ball? Well, after his interception, he was 7 of 10 for 131 yards and a touchdown. So he was fine. 70% after that, and 131 yards and limited throws for a touchdown. That was the best offensive performance of the season, easily. And the defense is, let's get into to my second key. The D needs to build off last week, shut down the run, take the ball away. So what did they do? Well, the Titans had 22 carries for 65 yards. They did an outstanding job stopping the run. They forced 3 interceptions. Kenny Moore had 2. Sam Womack had 1. So they did that as well for about 43 minutes. The offense was, well, we'll get into all the breakdowns and all that in a second. And then my third key was improved special teams coverage, meaning punt and kickoff, and they were good. So everything that I wanted to see improved on was improved on tenfold this week. As far as, offensively, they were very efficient. They scored 38 points, very easily could have scored more. So I was really impressed with the way they dominated the line of scrimmage, the way that Shane called the game for the most part till the end. And then, the way AR was able to make some really good passes. He had a great pass to A.D. Mitchell, who made an outstanding catch. He had a couple passes to Downs. He had the pass late to Pittman to kind of put the game on ice. So I thought AR took a step forward after the interception. You always want to see a young quarterback, after he makes a boneheaded play or a bad play, come back and show what he's made of. And I really thought that not only him, but the entire offense did that with the 38-point barrage that they dropped on the Titans. It was really good to see that. It was good to see the O-line look like the O-line again. I thought Ryan Kelly played well. Quentin was playing well. Concavas played well. The offensive line just looked really good outside of Glowinski. I don't know what they're going to do with him, but maybe play Bortolini at right guard, but he was having a lot of trouble out there. But other than him, I thought they played outstanding, really got to the linebackers in the second level and allowed JT to really make some big runs. I mean, 70 yards, I think that was the first play of the second half. And then he also had one that was 65 yards and then one that was one yard. Downs had 3 receptions for 61 yards and a touchdown. Like I said, A.D. Mitchell and Pitt had some big plays. So the offense had, to me, its best game of the year as far as efficiency. Overall, just looking at the statistics, they ran the ball 50 times for 335 yards, 6.7 yards per carry, and 4 touchdowns. When you run the ball that much, you really don't have to throw that much. So they ran it 50. They had, I think, 62 plays. They ran it 50 times and passed it 12. AR was 7 for 11, was sacked 1 time. So, I mean, that's a crazy ratio, but when you're getting 6.7 yards per carry, 335 yards, that's a hell of a day on the ground and an outstanding job by the offensive line. And the defense really played solid. I mean, DeForest Buckner early in this game took it over. I mean, he was just wrecking the game as far as in the middle and forcing bad throws and shutting down the run and allowing guys to make plays, and just he was just a menace early on in this game, and really the defense was outstanding from after the first drive till late in the third quarter, and that's kind of where my issues with this team start. First of all, just as a rule for me, I don't believe in taking out the starters until you're into the fourth quarter. It's just too early. It was 38-7. There was 3 minutes left. You had the ball, or maybe they got the ball and they scored, and then because we go into soft ass cover 2 or cover 3 or prevent, whatever it was, piss poor tackling. Zaire Franklin was awful today. Did not tackle well at all. Womack was bad. Blackman was bad. I mean, the tackling was atrocious, especially at the end of this game. I mean, Zaire was pretty consistently bad all game, but the other guys really kind of fell apart when we went into that shell coverage. And I had a lot of issues with everything that went on at the end of the game. First of all, you don't start doing that with 3 or 4 minutes left in the third quarter. It's too early. There's too much time left. People can score too fast. So they immediately go down and score, make it 38-15. Without almost any resistance. Really easy. I mean, their 2-point conversion, I don't think we touched the guy. And then our offense comes out, and Trey Sermon's in the game. Like, what? The thing that pissed me off is I think after JT broke off that 70-yard run, we took him out of the game. And I don't think he played again until the end. So, why? Like, he was in a rhythm. He was just destroying that defense. Why take him out when he's playing maybe his best game of his career? It's in the top 3, maybe in the top. It's probably in the top 2. I know he's had 2 games over 200 yards. So why, when he's in such a great rhythm, he's got 2 really long runs, he's seeing the field, seeing his blocks, do you take him out of the game? Like, you have to just play the game for 60 minutes and allow your team to just play. They were doing fine, and then you change the whole momentum of the game to taking out your best player for an extended period of time, and then also going to that shell coverage on defense, and they just went up and down the field. We didn't do anything offensively but run dive plays with Sermon and and Goodson and try to a 55-yard field goal. Of course, now he missed. He can't make anything outside of 53, I don't think. Maybe he's made a 55-yarder, not in Indianapolis, I don't think. Maybe. I don't think so, but I don't know what that was. You have to put your foot. You're in no position to play this like you're 13-2, because you're not. You were 6-8, and you're playing this game like you've got this. You got it locked up. You've won no games all year, including this one, by more than 8 points. And before this, you hadn't won a game by more than 6. So what are we doing? Like, why are we taking the foot off the gas? This should have been a feel-good win. We win the game, 41-15 or something. Instead, it falls apart. They go up and down the field, no resistance. We're doing, getting personal fouls and just doing stupid. In 17 minutes, they scored 23 straight points. In 17 or 18 minutes. With no running game. They had no running game. It was just dump off passes, missed tackles, pass interference, and a face mask on the same play. What are we doing out there? Like, this team, it gets to a certain level, and then it's just like, okay, and they stop playing. And it's ridiculous. And listen, Gus Bradley has done a decent job with this defense, but the inconsistency of it is maddening to me, and I'm just tired of it. I want somebody that's going to come in here and coach this defense to play to the same standard all the time. We give up less than 200 yards to Denver. We come out this week. We don't tackle. We did turn the ball over, but at the end of that game, the tackling was atrocious, and I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of all of it. It's just all inconsistent. Consistently inconsistent is what this team is, and that's not a good team. There is no standard for the team that they play to. They play to the level of their opponent for the most part, and that's not what you should be striving for. You should be striving to play to your standard, and the Colts standard cannot be this. It can't be incompetence all the time and inconsistency all the time. The standard has to be high. It can't be bare minimum. And that's what everything comes down to with this organization is bare minimum standards. Winning 9 games is like the Super Bowl to this organization, seemingly. Making Pro Bowls and doing podcasts seems to be more important than winning games, which it shouldn't be. It's systemic. I've ranted and raved about it. You see it on the field. They don't finish. They don't finish games strong. They play to the level of their opponent. That's not what good teams do. Good teams play to their standard. And even in they can win and it still can't be good enough. Because they didn't play to their standard. This team, they just think if they win, it's good enough. No, it's not good enough. This game should have been a absolute ass kicking. This should have never, ever been a close football game. That team was literally quitting outside of they didn't want to tackle. Not the Colts. I'm talking about the Titans when the Colts were rolling on them. They didn't want to tackle. They didn't want to do anything. And then the Colts were just like, you know what? We're done playing. We're going to take the rest of this game off. And that gave them energy, momentum, and they got back in the game. Granted, they didn't really have a chance. Well, yeah, they did have a chance because they had all that time and all they had to get was a stop. But luckily, our offense picked up the defense and was able to get some first downs and basically whittle the clock away so that the defense didn't have to do anything. Because God forbid, if they would have went 3 and out, I have no doubt in my mind that team would have went right down the field and tied that game. And who knows what happens in overtime. Who knows? Well, actually, we all know. The Colts would have lost. So, this team is maddening. It's so frustrating following them because you can't ever relax. Like, there is not a lead that is safe with this team. And it's been the same way forever. Like, 2022, 33-0 in the third quarter wasn't enough. Luckily, we needed to lose that game or we wouldn't have a quarterback right now, probably. But the point is, 33-0 wasn't enough. 38-7 barely was enough. You can't relax with this team. And there's no way that I should be this fired up after a win where we had a 38-7 lead. If you would have told me that I would have been this frustrated after, and it told me when it was 38-7 with 3 minutes to go in the third quarter, that I would be this frustrated after the game, I probably would have told you you're right because it's the Colts, but that's neither here nor there. But, as far as just the overall grand scheme of things, the Colts still have a shot at the playoffs. As long as that is the case, I'm going to root for them to win. So that means, obviously the Chargers have to lose to New England and the Raiders, which is very unlikely to happen. And then Cincinnati has to beat Denver and the Browns, I think, or maybe Cincinnati has to beat Denver. I think Denver has to lose out. Cincinnati has to win out, and Miami has to win out. Okay, let me say all that again. So the Chargers have to lose out, or Denver has to lose out, and Cincinnati has to win out, or Miami has to win out. That's very confusing. It's probably not going to happen. But until the Colts are mathematically eliminated, I'm still going to root for the Colts because it's just my DNA to try to want this team to win, even though I know it's probably stupid of me. It's just the way I've always been. But they've got to figure out a way to play 4 quarters. They just haven't done it. Like they have not done it. I mean, to allow that team 23 straight points, I don't have words. It never should have been that close. It's so frustrating because the offense put up 38 friggin' points against a terrible Tennessee offense. And we allowed 30 points. 30. And 23 of it was in the last 18 minutes. And, Steichen, I don't know what he was doing. I don't know why he took out, why they took out Taylor for so long. Why Gus went to that, with that much time left. It's just too early. You know how bad, you know what your defense is capable of in a bad way. Why would you ever do that and give a team momentum? I have no idea. Listen, again, I think Gus has done a decent job this year with what he's been given, but I'm ready for a different style defense. I'm tired of this. It's not aggressive enough for me. It's too inconsistent. I don't blame all of that on him, just like I didn't blame everything on Flus when he was here. You've got to have the players as well, and he doesn't have great players, and Flus didn't have great players. They made the best of what they have, and I think Gus is doing a decent job. I'm just so tired of this style of defense. And do I think it's going to change? No. Probably not. It's probably just going to be all run back one more year and then blown up. That's probably what's going to happen. But The Colts did win. That's the bottom line. They, style points and all that don't matter. AR and the offense looked really good. They pounded the ball. It's the style of offense I've wanted all year. Not necessarily, well, certainly not to the degree that it was with the ratio being 50-12. But when you run for over 330 yards, that's what you're going to get. So I just think anything with this team going forward needs to be built, and I mean going into 2025, needs to be built around power offense, power running with the back, zone inside, zone outside, running with the QB and throwing off of that. That needs to be the staple of this offense. It needs to be the identity of this offense until our quarterback is ready to take those steps to be, in a pass-heavy offense. He is just not there yet. And I don't know if he ever gets there, but he certainly won't get there being force-fed a passing game when he's not ready. So this today, outside of about 5 to 7 minutes, was exactly what I've been calling for. It was what I wanted last week, and I still believe if Steichen sticks to running the quarterback and running Taylor last week, we have a really good chance of winning that game. But he got away from it. He refuses to stay patient. Well, today he stayed patient with it, and it got him 38 points, 300 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns in the run game, 200 yards from Taylor. You just have to stay patient with it. And you got to keep your starting tailback in. I mean, he had like 200. I just don't know why he took him out of the game. I get it maybe for a possession, but he had him out of the game for like 3 straight offensive series maybe as that team was coming back, and then he put him back in the game. And then by that point, he was cold. He wasn't in his rhythm anymore, and it was just stupid on so many levels. There's just so many things Steichen does that I don't understand that make me believe he's not a great head coach. But barring anything crazy, I think we're seeing this all run back again in 2025. So there's that. But what I'm going to hang my hat on today is after AR threw that pick, we scored 38 straight points. He went 7 of 10 for 131 yards and a touchdown. He ran the ball 9 times for 70 yards and a touchdown. And JT had a huge game, 29, 218, 3 touchdowns. That's what the story of this game is to me. Defense forced some turnovers. That was really the difference in the game. If they don't force those turnovers, who knows what happens. Didn't really get any pressure on Rudolph, or as far as, I think we had 4 quarterback hits. I didn't see the pressures, but I thought early the defensive line was good. They did a great job with the run game early, and really the whole game. But late in the game, I mean, it was just check down stuff, and we couldn't tackle. Couldn't cover the tight end. Defense is it's just too inconsistent for me. Very frustrating as a fan to see them play the way they did last week and then come out and play the way they did this week for most of the game for 43 minutes and then just turn into a turnstile. It was very, very unsettling and annoying. But it goes back to my point that there really is no standard or accountability. It's just, we play to the level of our team. We do the bare minimum needed to win games. That's why the Colts never win in a blowout way, because I don't know if it's what they're taught, the way they're being taught, the style that they play. I don't know what it is, but they do not know how to put a team away. They just cannot do it. So, and when they get big leads, they give them back. I mean, we've had double-digit leads in the fourth quarter against Pittsburgh, Chicago, Tennessee, and they turn into one-possession games, and it's very frustrating as a fan, because these are games where we should put the foot down and and put these teams away, and we just don't do it. And that needs to be looked at in the offseason if no changes are made, because I understand I don't want to give up a big play, but you're ahead 38-7. Do what you've been doing, do what's been working, and play your defense. I mean, you're going to give up points anyway, playing that bullshit, shell defense that they went down the field and scored in 7 or 8 plays on 2 drives or 3 drives. So, I don't know, guys. Maybe I'm being way too hard on them, but I just thought this game should have been, this is what they're capable of as a team, and it turns out, it was just this is what they're capable of on offense, because their defense, was terrible down the stretch of this game, and the tackling was embarrassing, and I don't know what that was. I should feel a lot better than I do, but again, I keep trying to tell myself we won this game, but it's we played a 3-win team that basically looked like they were trying to quit, and then we gave them momentum by going into that shell and taking out our best player, because we thought the game was over with 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Who does that? What 6-8 team does that? Finish the frigging game. Give me one 60-minute performance. Nope, not going to do it. We'll give you 43. How you like 43 minutes? Was that good enough? No, it was not good enough for me. They've got, I don't know, man. I don't know what the answer is. They're bad. This is what bad teams do. They don't finish bad teams. They don't blow out bad teams. They just do the bare minimum to win against bad teams. So, I did think AR took a step in the right direction. I thought the offensive line took a step in the right direction. I thought Jonathan Taylor looked outstanding and bounced back from what I think is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen a player do in essentially a playoff game, and it probably will end up costing us the playoffs. But I will give him credit. He didn't go in the tank. He came out this week and proved that he's still an elite back, and played really, really good football, and that might be the best game he's played as far as statistically. I know he's had more touchdowns in a game, but with the 4, I think he had three TDs in this game and 218 yards. Yeah, it's definitely one of his best games. And 29 carries? Yeah, he had a really great game. So, offense, I give an A+. Defense, I give a D. Because of the way they finished the game. Special teams I thought was good. I'll give them a B or an A. Coaching, I'll give them a D. Just because of the way they handled the end of the game. It should have just never been close. They play what I think is probably the worst team that they're going to play all year next week. If they struggle to beat the Giants are horrible. If they give up more than 16 points to the Giants, I don't know, man. I don't even know. They should. The Colts should blow them off the field. So that's going to be a nice little litmus test for our team to see if we can take a team that's essentially tanking and beat the brakes off of them. Because, at this point, they don't want to win. They want to get a quarterback. So they need to keep losing. If the Colts if it's a struggle bus game again, and they have to win by the skin of their teeth, or God forbid lose, if they lose to the Giants, the whole staff should be fired. Because that team is trying to lose. So we'll see what happens. That's all I got for this game, guys. There's still a little bit of hope left. Not much, but the Colts just have to keep finding a way to win and hope some things break right. And we've got another week. We've got another week of games that'll matter for us, so that's nice. Some teams to root against and all that. That's fun. Would have been nice to have control of our own destiny by just winning the game last week, but of course, we couldn't do that. Or maybe just winning a game earlier in the year, like being a terrible Jacksonville team, but of course we can't win there. So I'll be back later in the week. I was gonna do a Q&A before this game, but I got busy and I did not get around to it. But I will do one midweek this upcoming week before the Giants game. So with that, I'm gonna wrap this up. Once again, your final from Lucas Oil Stadium: the Colts win 38-30 and move to 7-8 and keep their very slim playoff hopes alive. This has been Culture Uncut with your host Jason Spears. I will talk to you guys very soon. Have a great night.